All right, guys, welcome to Micah 3. We're going to get right into this. You guys already know where we're at if you've been watching them. Micah is a very interesting book because there's a lot of very, like forward stuff here. Like time is running out, and it's like you're really getting to the point. Wicked rulers and prophets. And I said, because this is the picking up from the back end of Micah 2, and I said, Hear now, O heads of Jacob, and you rulers of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know justice? You who hate good and love evil, who strip the skin from my people and the flesh from their bones, who also eat the flesh of my people, flay their skin from them, break their bones, and chop them in pieces like meat for the pot, like flesh in the cauldron. Now he's not talking about cannibalism here. He's talking about how they're being treated. He's talking about how they're being treated. Verse 4, Then they will cry to the Lord, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time because they have been evil in their deeds. Now, what time is he talking about? He's talking about the end. He's talking about the end of the tribulation, or the during it. Verse 5, Thus says the Lord concerning the prophets, who make my people stray, who chant peace while they chew with their teeth, but who prepare war against them, who puts nothing into their mouths. That's happening right now. Right now. Verse 6, Therefore you shall have night without vision, and you shall have darkness without divination. The sun shall go down on the prophets, and the day shall be dark for them. That's what's coming. This is giving you a preview of what's coming. Verse 7, So the seers shall be ashamed, and the diviners abashed. Indeed, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer from God. Remember what it said? That at that time, a son may start to try to prophesy again after the Lord comes, and the parents are going to tell him to shut up. And then if he doesn't, they're going to run him through. If I were people today, I would not want to be, after reading this, I would not want to be called a prophet. I would not want that title. Because that brings a heavy burden and a heavy condemnation if you're a false prophet. Verse 8, But truly I am full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of justice and might, to declare to Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Notice who the focus is on here. Now hear this, you heads of the house of Jacob and rulers of the house of Israel, who abhor justice and pervert all equity, who build up Zion with bloodshed and Jerusalem with iniquity. Notice what's going on here. Notice the focus here. If you're doing a study into Mystery Babylon, this would be a great chapter to come read. Her heads judge for a bribe, her priests teach for pay, and her prophets divine for money. Everybody's getting paid for what God gave for free. Think about that, and think about the people that do that. Yet they lean on the Lord and say, Is not the Lord among us? No harm can come upon us. Israel says that. We hear Christians say that too. Verse 12, Therefore, because of you, Zion shall be plowed like a field. Jerusalem shall become heaps of ruins, and the mountains of the temple like the bare hills of the forest. Now, in a way, that happened in the past. In 48, when they came in, it looked much like that. But there's a future time coming when it'll happen again. In fact, everything on the earth is going to be wiped out. It's going to really be a surprise how anybody's going to survive the tribulation, but people will. So he's making it very clear. God is making it extremely clear, back then and now. If this is what you're doing, there's nothing but condemnation coming for you. You can identify the wicked rulers today. We have them running our own country. Destruction is coming for them. We have people calling themselves prophets, but prophesying false visions and false dreams. They're going to be in the tribulation. Those people aren't going to heaven because they say Jesus and amen. They're not going to heaven because of that. Because they're prophesying incorrectly. They know they're not supposed to do this. It's in the Bible, but they don't want to read those particular verses. Oh, that doesn't apply to me. I'm not a prophet. But you gave a prophetic word that puts you in the category, and you were wrong. Because now you're a diviner, because you don't want to speak a specific prophecy, but you think you're speaking something to someone else. That's a diviner. It's divination. God hates divination with a passion. It's all over the Bible. It's all over the Old Testament especially. And yet they do it. And they don't want to take on the title. They don't want to classify themselves in that category. Yet what they do puts them in that category. I'm not a car salesman. But I can go to a dealership and sell anybody a car. Even though I don't work for them. Am I not a car salesman? But I can sell a car. That makes me a car salesman. I'm showing the attributes and the qualities of a car salesman. When my mom bought her first tractor, I took her to the John Deere dealership. I sold the tractor. I'm not a tractor salesman, but what I did put me in that category. Because I was the one that sold the tractor. The guy never said a word. He never had to. He was like, "You want a job?" He goes, "I need tractor salesman." He goes, "You nailed this." No, sir, I'm retired. True story. So if I am taking on the attributes of that thing or doing things that put me in that category, that makes me associated with it. You can't go and give like whenever they were talking about Trump. Trump's going to win 2020. Trump's going to win. And then they were wrong. One dude came forward and did a video and apologized. Said, "I was wrong." He goes, "But because I was wrong, it doesn't make me a false prophet. You gave a prophecy and it was wrong. That makes you a false prophet. You spoke a prophetic word and it was wrong. That makes you a false prophet." They will not take that responsibility. Okay? Micah 3. Oh, but Micah 3 is only referring to Israel. Oh, no. The whole world. Micah 3. If you are in the category of prophet and you have been wrong even once, you are now a false prophet. God did not send you. He did not give you a word to give to anybody. Now you're in that category. What does it say is going to happen to you? This is a no-brainer, but people aren't listening to this. They're not paying attention to this. They're doing what they want to do. We got people out there, wicked rulers, that are taking handouts and taking payoffs like crazy. That's what happened in Uvalde. Don't let them lie to you. You notice they've gotten real quiet on all that. That's what happened down there. Wicked rulers. They're going to have to answer for this. Everywhere and in every part of history where this has happened, they're going to have to answer for this. The ones that are doing this now are going to have to answer for this, and I fear it's going to be worse than what the people in the past have. The people in the past who have received their judgment are waiting in Hades for the white throne judgment. They've been there, some of them, for quite a long time. But I fear what's coming for the ones nowadays is going to be much worse. Why do you think these people live so long? When they look like they've died 10 years ago and they're still up there doing their things. Why do you think they live so long? The Lord is preparing them and keeping them for the day of judgment. And they will be there. All of them will be there. And they will see with their own eyes what their actions have brought upon them. Justice will come. It's going to come. And whether we get ours or whether we get our supposed revenge or whatever is irrelevant. They're going to get theirs by God's judgment. We don't need to pay people back. We don't need to go back after people. They're going to get theirs. God says, vengeance is mine. Let him take the vengeance, because he can do it in a way you can't even begin to believe, because the way he does it is everlasting. And it's coming for all of them. And they'll ignore it. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to hear that. It's coming nonetheless. If you're standing in front of a train and the train's coming up to hit you, I'm not going to get hit by a train. I don't want to get hit by a train. That's not really going to happen. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. That train's still going to hit you. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's still coming. It's still going to get you. And you can sit there the whole time it's happening and go, oh, well, no. It's not really happening. I don't believe it. Doesn't matter. It's still going to happen. Again, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Yes, it does. Why? Because it was created to do that. You may not believe it does that, but it still does it. And the nations will continue to rage. And things will continue to fall apart. Or fall together, depending on your perspective. It's going to happen. Nothing we do is going to stop it, because God has already set these things in motion, and prophecy must be fulfilled. And it will be. His promises will be kept. See, we forget that he made promises against the evil ones too. And those promises he made to them will be kept. Micah is showing some of those things. It's going to happen. Here's the shocker. Many of them, in the middle of it happening to them, still will deny it. Because they are so hard-hearted, they just will not believe. Even though they see it happening, and they're standing in the middle of it, they'll still say it isn't happening. They'll still say it. Terrible state. But God said it would be like this, so here we are. All we have to do is keep our nose clean and stay out of everybody else's way. Do what God tells us to do. Follow his word. And everything will be fine. And we won't fall into these categories. We won't partake with these people. It's just terrible that nations have gone the way they went. And what really is more terrible is to know that God knew this from the very beginning it was going to happen. But on top of that, it's not so much terrible as that it's amazing, because even though he already knew that was going to happen, he still showed the most amazing grace to everybody. How incredible. Even knowing this is where things were going to end up, he still showed amazing mercy and grace. Beautiful. Guys, that was Micah 3. Tomorrow will be Micah 4, the Lord's reign in Zion, and that will get us to the millennial reign. Should be interesting. All right, I love y'all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.